finished number 11, Pachajata, or post-nascence condition last night. So today we'll begin with the 12th, which is Asevana Pachaya, repetition condition. The word Asevana means doing it again and again, or experiencing it again and again. So the English translation repetition is here appropriate. Now, in order for something to be repeated, there must be something which is identical. So only when something identical is found again or say arises again do we say it is repeated. So when you repeat something, when you repeat a formula, you say these were identical words again and again. So in order for anything, any Dhamma to have a Sevana condition, then it must repeat itself. It must arise again and again. And do you remember which, say, consciousness arises again and again, repeats itself again and again? There are types of consciousness which arise 7 times. What are they? You don't remember? Jhavanas. So there are types of consciousness called wholesome consciousness and unwholesome consciousness. When these types of consciousness arise, they arise not once, they arise 7 times at most. Other types of consciousness arise just once and then they disappear, and then another type of consciousness will arise after them. But these types of consciousness, the wholesome consciousness and unwholesome consciousness, there are other consciousness also, but let us talk about only these 2. So wholesome consciousness and unwholesome consciousness. When they arise under normal conditions, they arise 7 times. So we can get asevana condition only in. Now visualize a type of consciousness repeating itself for 7 times. So let us say number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The second is identical with the first, and the third is identical with the first and second, and so on. So all these 7 consciousness are identical. Now, when there is no first consciousness, there can be no second. There can be no third. So the first one, when it disappears, it gives something of it to the second. That is why it is called repeated. So the first one is a repetition condition for second, because if there is no first one, there can be no second. And the second is the repetition condition for the third, and so on. So the 6th is the repetition condition for the 7th. But after 7th, there is another type of consciousness, non-identical. In that case, there is no repetition condition, right? So among the 7 moments of wholesome or unwholesome consciousness, the first 6 are repetition condition, but the last one is not, because it is followed not by an identical type of consciousness, but another different type of consciousness. Now you may have noticed that in this repetition condition, the proximity condition is also involved. Proximity condition means disappearing so that the succeeding consciousness can arise. Here also, the first consciousness disappears so that the second consciousness can arise. But since it is kusala or akusala, it has the ability to impart some of its force or something to the second. Now, the next one is karma paccaya, karma condition. You all know what karma is. What is karma? Volition, yeah. Now, there are 52 mental factors or mental states, and one of them is called, in Pali, Cetana, and it is translated as volition. It is a mental state that encourages others to do their function. But that volition is what is called karma. So Buddha once said that Cetana is what I call karma. So karma means really the volition or mental state that accompanies, say, some action by the body or action by speech or just action in the mind. So popularly we say, what is karma? Say good or bad action. So when we are talking lightly, it's okay. But when we want to be specific, when we are talking about Abhidhamma, we have to be specific. So according to Abhidhamma strictly, what is karma? Karma is the volition, the mental state. And that mental state disappears immediately after its arising. But when it disappears, it leaves something of its potential in the mind of beings. We don't know where that potential is stored. We cannot find out that potential is stored here or there. But that potential is there. And when there are conditions favorable for it to give results, the results appear. So that potential is what is called the potential of karma. So the mental state which is called volition leaves that potential in the minds of beings. And when conditions are favorable for the results to arise, then the results arise. Now, the mental factor called volition accompanies every type of consciousness. But not volition accompanying every type of consciousness is called karma. Volition accompanying only wholesome and unwholesome consciousness is called karma. Because here karma means something which will give result in the future. The conditioning factor is volition here, and those that are conditioned by it may arise later, years later, or may arise many lives later. So they belong to different times. The cause of condition belongs, let's say, here, and its result may come, say, sometime in the future. So they have different times. The karma which gives results is called karma with different time. They translate it in English as asynchronous karma. Now there is another kind of karma. Maybe I have not told you about this. Now you know volition accompanies every type of consciousness. So volition accompanying other types of consciousness than wholesome and unwholesome is also called karma. So that karma is named sahajata karma. It is called karma, but it will not give results as the other karma does. Now, say karma which arises with a resultant consciousness. Now, that volition, the volition arises with a resultant consciousness. So that volition is also called karma. But it is karma arising together with the consciousness which it conditions. So that is called sahajata karma, or say co-nascent karma. So there are two kinds of karma. Karma arising at the same time with what it conditions, and karma which arises before, sometimes maybe long before the results are produced. So we should understand two kinds of karma. The next one is vipaka, result condition. So in order to have result condition, it must be the result. So we can have vipaka condition in consciousness and mental factors only. Now, the word vipaka means result, but it means the identical results. Now, the karma give results, right? When karma give results, the results are in the form of consciousness, mental factors, and also rupa. At the moment of conception, there arise consciousness, mental factors, and also material properties. So the material property is also the result of karma. But that material property, although it is the result, is not called vipaka in this context. Because the word vipaka is used for only identical results. That means if the cause is nama, if the cause is mental, then the effect must also be mental thing, not material thing. So we can get vipaka only in cetas and cetasikas, consciousness and mental factors, and not in material properties caused by karma or caused by ceta. The next one, ahara, nutriment. Popularly, ahara means food. So we can find nutriment condition in what are called foods. I hope you remember aharas, nutriments. How many aharas are there? How many? You are going to be Kalyana Buddhists. So you must give the answer, right? How many aharas are there? Material ahara, that means nutriment, right? And then contact, phassa. And then cetana, volition. And then vijnana, consciousness. So these four are called ahara. So not only the edible food, but also the other three mental things are called ahara. So we find ahara condition not only in material things, but also in mental things like cetas and cetasikas. Now, in the food we eat, there is what we call ahara or nutriment. That is nutrition in the food. And that nutrition in the food can produce other material properties. So the nutrition is ahara condition, and the material properties caused by that nutrition is called those that are conditioned by it. So one nutrition is conditioned, and the other material properties are those that are conditioned. And when consciousness and mental factors arise together, then there is this ahara condition, because there is consciousness, and there is also contact, phassa, and there is also cetana. So when one is said to be, or when we take one to be ahara condition, then the others and also the other concomitants are those that are conditioned by it. And we take another one as ahara condition, and the remaining as those that are conditioned, and so on. Okay, next one is indriya paccaya, faculty condition. How many indriyas are there? How many?
66 days.
Yeah? There are some things called the indriya of faculty. And according to the list, there are 22. Right? Yeah, there are 20. You look at the notes later. Now, among them, some are material and some are mental. So, most of them are called indriya condition. So, first let us talk about mental faculty condition. So, the life principle, jivita, is one of the mental states, right? And then consciousness is one of the faculties. And then feeling, vedana. And then saddha, faith or confidence. And then viriya, effort or energy. Sati, mindfulness. Samadhi, concentration. And panya, knowledge. How many? 8. So they are called mental indriyas, mental faculties. So let us say first, unwholesome consciousness. How many cetasikas along with it? There are 19 cetasikas. So we can find indriya condition there. The consciousness is the indriya condition, and also vedana is indriya condition, right? Life principle, jivita is also indriya condition, and so on. So, when we see a consciousness and mental states arising together, then we can find indriya condition among them. When you see something, then there is the I, and so the I is which arises with its mental factors is that which is conditioned. Okay, now next one, Jhana paccaya. You already know the Jhana factors. There are how many Jhana factors? 5. What? Initial application, sustained application, piti, and then sukha is what? What cetasika? Vedana. So vedana, and then the last one, ekaggata, one-pointedness. So these are called 5 jhana factors. So whenever you see these jhana factors, not necessarily with jhana consciousness, but with any type of consciousness except the 10 beginning with seeing consciousness. So there we can have jhana condition. Now for example, the first akusala ceta. So there are 19 cetasikas going along with it. So among the 19 cetasikas, there are what? Initial application, sustained application, and then piti, and ekaggata, one-pointedness. And also there is vedana. So we can pick one of them as jhana condition, and say the others are those that are conditioned by that jhana factor. Now magga paccaya or magga condition, path condition. So magga is the name of some factors, some mental factors. Magga means path. That means once you are on that path, you will reach a certain place without fail. In the same way, once you are on the Noble Eightfold Path, then you are sure to reach Nibbana. So that is why these factors as a group are called Magga, and in each individual factor is called factor of Magga. Okay, how many Magga factors are there? How many? Only 5? 8? No, two answers now. I have 8, 5, 7. So you all know the eight factors of Magga, right? 25? Too many. You know the Noble Eightfold Path, right? So the factors of Eightfold, it says Eightfold, so there are 8 factors, right? But there is one more, right? You remember now? You don't? What's that? Because when I say Magga, you are always thinking of good kusala, right? There is one Magga in the akusala, and wholesome. Not actually one, but how many? There are 12 factors of Magga. The 8, those we already know, right? Or the 8 that are familiar with us. And then there are the other 4. Miccha Ditti, right? Wrong view, Miccha Sankappo. Wrong thought, Miccha Vayama. Wrong effort, and Miccha Samadhi, wrong concentration, right? Altogether there are 12 Maggangas. The 8 lead to, say, Nibbana, and the 4 lead to woeful states. So there are altogether 8 Maggangas, 8 factors, 12 factors of Magga. But when you pick up the mental factors represented by them, you get 9. Because wrong thought and right thought are the same vitaka, right? And wrong effort and right effort are the same virya. And wrong concentration and right concentration are the same ekaggata, or one-pointedness. So, although there are 4, say, bad factors of Magga, when we count the Chetasikas, we get only 1 new Miccha Ditti, wrong view. Wrong view is a separate mental factor, right? So, when I ask you how many Magga factors are there, the answer should be 9, right? 9 Magga factors. The 8, the regular ones, plus Miccha Ditti, wrong view. So these are called Maggangas, the factors of Magga, and they are the Magga condition here. Again, the first, unwholesome consciousness, and 19 mental factors arising together with it. Is there Magga condition there? Yes, because there is wrong view, right? And there is what you call vitaka, right? And there is effort, virya. And there is ekaggata. So among the first unwholesome Cheta and 19 Chetasikas arising along with it, so we can get Magga condition there. So we take, say, wrong view as Magga condition, then the Cheta and the other 18 Chetasikas are those that are conditioned by it. Then we take, say, virya as Magga condition, and the remaining as those that are conditioned by it. Okay, next one. Sampayutta. Sampayutta means association. Now, association means arising together and perishing together and having the same object and depending on the same base. So those dhammas that have these four characteristics are said to be associated. Only the consciousness and mental factors can have this kind of condition, Sampayutta condition. Because only cetas and cetasikas arise together, perish together, have the same object, and depend on the same base. So, let's take the first akusala consciousness again with 19 cetasikas. So, you can pick one as the conditioning, the Sampayutta conditioning factor, and the other, the remaining ones, as those that are conditioned by it. So any one of them can be the association condition, then the remaining one becomes those that are conditioned by it. Now the next one is Vipayutta, non-association. It is the opposite of Sampayutta. Now consciousness and metta may arise at the same moment, but they do not perish at the same moment. Consciousness perishes very quickly, but metta stays on for how many moments? Until the 17th moment. Now metta is said to have the life of 17 thought moments, or in other words, metta lives 17 times longer than, say, mind or consciousness. So they may arise together at the same moment, but they do not perish together. Mind perishes first, and then matter perishes later. So, although they may arise together, they are not called associated. So, there is non-association condition between mind and matter. What about between one matter and another? They do not have these four characteristics. They're taking the same object and depending on the same base. So can there be Vipayutta condition between one matter and another matter? We should say there is, right? But the books say no. Now, there is a saying that wherever there is negation, there is some kind of doubt or suspicion. An analogy. Say you pick up a rock, but you or anybody will not say that this rock is not gold, because it's too obvious. You will not think that this rock is gold. Nobody will think that this rock is gold. So you don't have to negate it, because it is too obvious. But if you pick up a brass, a thing made of brass, a yellow thing, then it looks like gold, and so somebody may suspect that it is gold. Then you say, no, this is not gold, there is negation. So whenever there is negation, there is some kind of suspicion or doubt involved. So only when there is some kind of suspicion or doubt do you negate. Do you say, this is not something like that. But between one matter and another, there is no such doubt, whether they are associated or not. So we do not say that they are not associated. We do not call them, they are non-association. They belong to non-association condition, because they are too obvious. So only between mind and or consciousness and matter is there such suspicion. Now, consciousness can produce matter. There are four causes of matter, right? Karma, consciousness, temperature or utu, and food. So when mind produces matter, they arise together. Rise together there is a suspicion that they may be associated. They are together, and so they should be associated. Then we will say, no, they are not associated, because there are no four characteristics among these two, so they are non-associated. So only when there is a suspicion or doubt is negation meaningful, otherwise it's not worth negating. So that is why the Vipayutta condition can be found only between, say, consciousness and mental factors on the one hand, and some kind of matter on the other. The next one is atti, presence. So presence means existing. So in order to have the presence condition, something must be existing. And also the one that is conditioned by it must also be existing at that moment. So both the conditioning and the conditioned must exist at the same moment. Now I talk about this in connection with Sahajada, Nisaya, Purijada, and so on. So when things arise together, and when, say, consciousness and mental states arise together, then they exist together. So whenever there is Sahajada condition, there is also Atti condition. Whenever there is, say, Nisaya condition, there is Atti condition. Nisaya conditions mean support. Say, your eye consciousness depends on the eye. So the eye must be present for eye consciousness to arise. So there is the existing also. So when things arise and exist together, then there is said to be this condition, atti or presence condition. And the 24th one, Aggregates condition, is actually the same as atti condition. So presence and non-disappearance mean the same thing. Number 22, nati, absence. It is the opposite of 21. And number 23, vigata, is the same as nati. So 22 and 23 are same, 21 and 24 are same. There is very subtle difference between nati and vigata, but let us leave that alone now. So let us take that they are the same. So the ati and avigata are same, nati and vigata are also same. So nati means absence. So when something arises and it disappears, then there is this nati or absence condition. So it is connected with what condition above? 4, anandara condition, right? Anandara condition means it disappears so that another can arise. So they are similar. So whenever there is anandara condition, there is nati condition. There is vigata condition also. Now we come to the end of 24 conditions. So if you don't understand the details, don't worry. I want you to have the general idea of what Patthana means. Because in order to understand fully what I told you, you need to have studied some of Abhidhamma. Not all of you have studied Abhidhamma, I think. So if you don't understand all of what I said, don't worry. But the general idea of Patthana is that things happen depending upon the conditions. So without conditions, there can be no arising of things. And they are related in different ways. Not by just one way, but two ways, but in different ways. And so there are altogether 24 modes of relation. Now, we will pick up a specific incident and see how many conditions we can find in that specific condition. Okay, now, you see a beautiful flower. So there is a flower, the object. And when you see, there is seeing consciousness in you. And along with seeing consciousness, there are 7 mental factors. And the seeing consciousness and 7 mental factors depend on the I, right? So at least there are 4 things here. The object, the beautiful flower, seeing consciousness, mental factors going along with it, and the I base. So let us try to find how many relationships there are in this situation. Okay, I will ask one by one. Is there a hetu condition? Yes or no?
No.
Hmm?
Yes.
Why yes? No, you have to look in those 4 things, right? The roles, consciousness, mental factors, and the I. Is there lobha, dosa, moha, and alobha, dosa, amoha in these 4? No, seeing consciousness belongs to ahetuka, right? So here we do not get the hetu condition. So what about second? Object condition. Yes. The flower is the object condition, right? Okay. What about predominance condition?
Yes.
Not yet. It will only when you are attached to it will there be predominance condition. But at this moment you are just seeing it, just seeing the object. So at that moment of the very seeing, it cannot exert the predominance over the mind. So there is no predominance here. And also the connaissance predominance can be found only in jhavanas, say accompanied by 2 roots or 3 roots. So there is no adipati condition here. If you get wrong, don't worry. Okay, what about anantara condition? Looking at this consciousness alone, then we can say there is no anantara condition. But this consciousness arises because the consciousness before it disappears, right? And this consciousness will, in its turn, disappear so that another type of consciousness can arise. So if we look at not only at this one consciousness, but the consciousness before it and after it, then we can say there is anantara condition also. When it disappears, it becomes anantara condition for the next one to arise. Now number 6, what about sahajata? Number 5, samanantara. So when there is anantara, there is samanantara. Okay. Number 6, sahajata. Is there a sahajata condition there? Yes. Because consciousness and mental factors arise together. So when you take one as sahajata condition, then you take the others as those that are conditioned by the one sahajata condition. So there is sahajata condition. Okay, what about anyamanya? Mutuality or reciprocal? Each other. Citas and citisikas can influence each other, right? So there is anyamanya condition also. What about the next one? Nisaya, support. Yes. Which is the nisaya here? The flower is the nisaya of seeing consciousness, right? And the I is also the nisaya of seeing consciousness. And then consciousness and mental factors can be nisaya of each other. When there is sahajata, there is also nisaya. And then upanisaya. Now, if we take that there is anantara condition, then there is also upanisaya condition, because upanisaya has 3 varieties and one of them is anantara. difficult to get Upanishaya condition here. About Purijata, pre-nascence. Yes, arising before and existing at the moment, right? So the flower is a Purijata condition, and the eye also is Purijata condition. And what about Pachajata condition? Post-nascence. Consciousness, seeing consciousness arises. So when it arises, it supports whatever rupa is there. Not the visible object, but the other rupa in the body. So it supports, when consciousness arises, it supports the material properties that are caused by one cause, two causes, three causes, four causes. So there is Pachajata condition also. But the next one, Asivana. Is there Asivana condition? Repetition condition? No. What about Kama condition? One kind of Kama is there. Right? Kama arising at the same time, Sahajata Kama. But not the one that produces results. Chetana, right? Chetana accompanies seeing consciousness. So there is the Kama as arising at the same time, Sahajata Kama. Vibhaga condition, seeing consciousness is a resultant consciousness, right? So there is Vibhaga condition. There is a resultant consciousness, then there is Vibhaga condition. So there is Vibhaga condition here. If you take Cheta as Vibhaga condition, then the Ditikas are those conditions by Cheta. Don't think of Kama and Vibhaga here, right? So if you think of Kama and Vibhaga, you will say there is no Vibhaga condition here. But Vibhaga condition means those that is in the Vibhaga consciousness. So seeing consciousness is a Vibhaga consciousness or resultant consciousness. And so the consciousness and the mental factors can have the Vibhaga condition to each other. What about Ahara condition? Yes, right? There is consciousness, there is volition, there is contact. And then what about the next? Indriya condition, faculty condition. Yes, there is consciousness, right? And there is life principle. And there is feeling. So there is Indriya condition. Okay, what Jhana condition? No is the right answer. But if you said yes, it will be wrong. Because it is said that we cannot have Jhana condition with regard to 10 sense consciousness, right? 2 seeing consciousness, 2 hearing consciousness, and so on. So it is said that they are so weak that they cannot serve as Jhana factor, although there is Vedana and there is Ekagrata. So there is no Jhana condition with regard to seeing consciousness. Okay, what about Magga? It is said that Magga condition also cannot be had in 18 Ahetuka Chetas. So there is no Magga here. Now, the reason for there being no Jhana condition is that if it is to be Jhana, it must have at least Vitaka, initial application. But there is no initial application arising together with seeing consciousness. So that is why there is no Magga. And I mean there is no Jhana. And there is no Magga because in order to be a Magga, you need root. But since these types of consciousness are without roots, they cannot be called Magga. So although there are what we call Magga factors arising together with seeing consciousness, we don't say that there is Magga condition there. Sampayutta, association. Is there Sampayutta condition? Yes, because there is consciousness and there are Cetasikas. And is there Vipayutta condition? No. Although there is Rupa as an object, there is no suspicion of they are being associated. So There is no regular condition here. Nati condition? Yes. Nati condition? We should say yes, because when it disappears, it becomes nati condition. But when it is existing, it is not nati condition. Then the next two. When there is nati, there is vigata, and when there is ati, there is avigata, because they are the same. So, what I want to show you, giving this example, is how much we can understand of such a very simple experience. It's very common. See, we are seeing things every day. And so we don't think of it as a complex experience. We see something and that's all there is to it. But if we apply our knowledge of, a very, very small knowledge of Patthana to it, now we know how complex this seemingly simple experience is. Say, at least there are 4 groups of things arising at the same time, and they are related to each other in many different ways. Not just in one way, not just in 2 ways, many different ways. So we can imagine how immense and how infinite the wisdom of the Buddha is. And understand this much, how much more Buddha would have understood. Right? So the more we know about these teachings, the more we adore the Buddha, the more we have respect for him and for his infinite wisdom. So one thing which makes us devoted to the Buddha, which makes us have respect for the Buddha, is to understand his teachings. The more we understand his teachings, the more we can appreciate his wisdom. And the more we become humble, right? We think that now we know a lot. But compared with what Buddha knew, it's just a particle of dust on the ground. So we become more and more humbled when we know more about the Buddha's teachings. And when you have such respect for the Buddha, the appreciation of his infinite wisdom, then you have the very firm confidence in the Buddha, very firm faith in the Buddha. It is almost unshakable. I say almost because as a Budhaghosa, it may be shakeable, but if you know so much, I think it's very, very difficult to shake you of this confidence in the Buddha. So it is by understanding his teaching that we come to appreciate his infinite wisdom, and we come to appreciate his infinite compassion for the beings. He has become a Buddha and he could enjoy his bliss and he could do nothing because he has already finished his task and he is going to reach Nirvana. But he did not enjoy the bliss as much as he would like to, but he took the trouble to teach beings. And also when he died, he left these teachings to us, and those disciples carried his teachings from generation to generation until today. So by understanding his teachings, we come to realize how very important it is, to transfer our knowledge, to transfer his teachings from one generation to another. So because of this tradition, now we can understand a little about, Patthana conditions, and we can apply it to our daily experience. So if you think about this, it's seeing something, hearing something, and how many relationships are involved, then you can understand a lot. And so we are very lucky to be the disciples of the Buddha, who went through countless rebirths, suffering a great deal, and then who became the Buddha and who taught these teachings to us. And we are also lucky to have the opportunity to understand his teachings in some depth. Not just superficial understanding, but our understanding, or say your understanding, is now not on the surface. Now you have penetrated the surface and now going deeper and deeper into the Dhamma. So by the study of Patthana, I know you have many questions, but I will say no today. Because this is just a taste of Patthana. It is not even fairly a complete presentation of the Patthana conditions, but just to have you a taste of it and to know how important it is to understand the teaching of Patthana and how we can apply this knowledge to our daily lives and to have a deeper understanding of what's going on, say, in our minds, around us, because Patthana can be applied to outside things also. So this is my intention in giving this talk, and if I have kindled a desire in your heart to understand more, I think my talk is successful. I do not hope that you will understand all of what I said, but if you want to know more about Patthana, I think I have done my duty. So I'm glad that I taught the Patthana to you today, and I hope you will study more of Patthana during these 2 months before I come back from Florida, so that you are ready to go into Paticca dependent origination. So please review what you have learned at the Kalyana Buddhist, so that you are ready for another stage of Kalyana Buddhist. So, okay.